Investing is challenging no matter what you're investing in, right? You have to be willing to kind of suffer and go through that process of learning, discovering, and kind of figuring out like what do you really like and what do you really want and how do you want to go and do it.
We knew that we wanted to invest and we were kind of willing to do whatever it took to be able to do that. And with 5 daughters, this was not an easy feat, but we would usually buy a house every year and a half and move, because the easiest way to buy an investment is to live in it first. It's the easiest loan to get. It's the greatest rate.
We moved a lot.
We moved a lot.
Welcome back to The Real Grind, guys. We're having a blast having season 2 coming in here, having episode, drinking coffee, talking stuff, talking real estate. And today's no different. We're here with super amazing guests today. But Italo, do you remember that Austin trip that we had?
Sure did. The first road trip.
It was so cool. And if you check, you can go to season 1. This was actually edition in Austin, and we went there. Actually, Austin have very good coffee. You agree?
Good coffee, good food, good people, good music too.
Combination of Duke and great real estate. You know, it's a funny thing. I was passing by Austin, and you know, Austin is obviously close about 3.5 hours, 4 hours from Dallas.
About, yeah.
We always go outside of Austin, and I've been going there for the past 10 years, but then one day I was just driving by Austin and I see how big it got for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And the real estate that is booming, we're gonna talk today with those 2 guys. But before, let's get that show started. Let's go.
Waking up to success. Now we're getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on, go and make coffee. The real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.
And in today's on the episode, she's a top producing broker with 18 years of real estate experience, a rock star when it comes to marketing the properties. And he's a beast when it comes to product design, new concepts, and innovation. He's also worked in the biggest IT companies in the world that you probably know. But they combine their experience, create a very successful real estate business. We'd like to get it on the stage. Kathleen Wainwright and Toni Latto, let's go! Woo! How are you, sir? Oh, thank you for coming. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, thank you so much for coming here. We're super excited to have you both. You know, we are actually partners, one of our last acquisition deal at Luna Vista. And I met this duo. You guys are so lovely. Such a power couple, man. I appreciate you guys coming to the show. How was the trip?
Great.
Not
Easy.
bad. Good drive.
Very
good weather.
good.
No traffic. It's pretty good.
I know during the day it's okay, you know, in the morning. But guys, let's just get started. I'm gonna ask both of you, but you can start with you, Kat. Talk a little bit about your beginnings, where you grew up, and you know, who was little Kat?
Little
Talk
Cat.
to us.
Well, I lived in Texas as a child. My dad was in the Air Force at Bergstrom. We moved from Texas to a little island called Catalina. And I lived there for a little while. And
Is it Catalina Island by California?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yep. Lived there. Beautiful places, right? So Austin, Catalina, and then up near Lake Tahoe. Lived in the valley there for a little over 20 years and then back to Austin.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Toni?
I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. Spent my entire childhood there and then left home when I was 17. I wound up here in 2007. I've been in Austin longer than I've lived anywhere else.
Really?
Yeah.
And guys, like, you know, this is part of the show, but like, how'd you guys get into real estate today? I know you guys you're more in the real estate and you still work on a designing and the product designing stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
how did the real estate come about for you, Kat? You especially
Well, I went into real estate in 2005.
okay? Wow, back then.
Yep. I don't really know when I think back about, I was so compelled to go to real estate school and I was just ready to like burn the boats. And I don't know why, but I guess I just knew it was my calling. And I've just been loving it every minute since then.
Wow, that's been a long time. And
Yeah.
it probably in 2005 and short afterwards, the big recession and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm sure you've seen multiple cycles on the real estate market. And Toni, what about you? How did you get into product design and the career there? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So I my dad's an architect.
Okay.
And I first went to college to be an architect. And then I found a discipline called industrial design, product design. It's like being an architect, but for products, for things versus buildings. So it's the same thing, but different. Went to graduate school, got my master's in industrial design, and started working in high tech. I started at IBM, left there, went to Intel, went Philips Medical, did medical equipment. Then I came down to Texas to work at Dell. Before it was popular, moved to Austin and work in high tech. It was nobody wanted to come there at that time.
And what part of the design do you do? Can you?
So it's the hardware. So it's all the outside. It's the fit, finish, color, look and feel. It's the shape of the product. It's how you use it, how you interact with the product, what happens when it opens, what happens when you turn it on, how does the button feel, how does the door open if you have to change something. There's all these things that go into the product, and we work with many just different disciplines. I work with people from all around the world to develop and execute these products. So it's pretty cool. I've been doing it for 30 years now. So I started as an intern at a company called Ryobi Motor Products, which they made power tools. Everybody's heard of Ryobi tools. I actually worked in a factory. It was like one of the last factories in America. And then now, of course, everything's overseas. But yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell, kind of like what I do.
All right, very good. So if you seen all the products from all those companies, big companies, probably in the hands of this man here.
Yeah.
And if it's good or bad, I'm sure it's good.
He carries a Sharpie in his pocket, so if you have one, he'll sign it for you.
I will.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
Kat, you being more involved in a single, so you started as a realtor.
Yep.
You're selling homes, and I saw here in the bio like a rock star in marketing. What is that your secret sauce on the marketing?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think that I just try to be very real about who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to use like standard templates. And I like to make people laugh. I think that you should kind of like the Hallmark commercial.
Sure.
You should either make someone laugh or make someone cry. And I would prefer to make them laugh.
It was always on the market of Austin area, Texas, or
it depends. Austin started getting really pricey. I mostly work with investors.
Yeah.
So I started just to grow my bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done lots of work out in College Station, San Antonio, and now Fort Worth.
So talk to me about this business real quick. So if an investor is looking for a home, you find everything a turnkey. How does that work?
Pretty much, yeah. So I always want to get to know who the investor is and what their goals are, because not everyone has the same goals.
Yes.
I don't work with flippers typically. I work with people that want to buy and hold and understand future values.
Sure.
Find the right product that you have the stress temperament for.
Yep.
Because a lot of people don't want to buy the little single-story bungalows that were built in the 50s, but those can be really great money makers.
Yes.
But not everyone has the temperament for that. So I have to understand who you are and what you're willing to put up with. Find the product, win it for you, make sure that it's mostly turnkey. We procure the tenant. We don't do property management.
But you find the tenants too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you being in business for so long, you have some kind of a database and the marketing skills to market that product.
And it's not always easy.
Yes.
But I do feel like if I'm going to tell the investor that this is a great product for you, I should probably prove that. So that's always been part of my promise.
Very nice. And we're going to talk in a little bit because, both of you, how did that multifamily thing starts, man? And I'm sure, how long have you guys been together? Let's talk about you guys. How you guys met?
We will have been married 13 years. No, 12 years this July.
In July.
But we've known each other for 14 years.
All right. How'd you guys meet?
We met on Match online.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from there, I thought you were gonna say something story like I'll try to sell my house and and probably the Match online.
Yeah.
So and you guys be together and you guys do invest yourselves as well, or you guys have rental properties, or you just work with the investors?
I think Toni and I have kind of a classic story of investors where we knew that we wanted to invest and we were kind of willing to do whatever it took to be able to do that. And with 5 daughters, this was not an easy feat, but we would usually buy a house every year and a half and move, because the easiest way to buy an investment is to live in it first.
Sure.
It's the easiest loan to get. It's the greatest rate.
Yep.
The best rate. So we did that for a while.
Yeah. We moved a lot.
We moved a lot.
I think we've moved about 10 times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but
I
you
mean,
know,
that's a lot.
like she said, I mean,
to-
it's a proof of concept. You move
Yeah.
in and do a little bit of renovations as you go. The house is appreciated, sell it. This is
Turn it
great.
into a rental, move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think you have to be willing to suffer.
Yeah,
Right? You know, investing is challenging, as you know.
yeah,
No matter what you're investing in, right? You have to be willing to kind of suffer and go through that process of suffering, learning, discovering, and kind of figuring out like what do
Right.
you really like and what do you really want and how do you want to go and do it.
absolutely. Especially in a market like Austin, for example, you being 2005 to today is a crazy change.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
now today, the market in Austin is crazy. It is hard to find housing there, and the prices just went up a bunch, right? So that was a great recipe
Yeah.
to do that. Just when I think about moving, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah.
So Dad and I, we tried to buy a house a couple years ago, and we got on the contract. We pack everything, and then the contract fell through, and didn't work. And then we went to another one, and we're leaving in boxes at this point, right? And then didn't work out, and it was like, you know what, this is a sign. We're just gonna stay here. So we had to unbox
Oh, man.
inside of our own house.
Oh, man.
But just the fact of moving, it can be very painful. I
Yeah.
personally moved a lot since I was a kid with my parents. But moving it sucks. But you know, moving for a good cause when you're in a purpose and a goal, it makes total sense and it's great.
Yeah. You have to be flexible. And like Tony said, you have to be willing to suffer.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
We got rid of a lot of stuff. Like
We
we
did.
didn't hoard things. You know, we eliminated a lot of extra stuff because you accumulate. I mean, we've been around a while, and so we
Right.
tend to accumulate things, and so it forced us to have to like really think about what do we really want to keep? What do we want? Why do we want it? Does it really matter? That cookie jar, do you really have to keep the cookie jar? But we kept it.
Every
'cause-
time we move, he tries to
'cause-
make me get rid of that cookie jar.
I'm sure there's a cookie jar. There's
There
a
is.
cookie jar
There's a
story
cookie
here. But you
jar.
know what goes well with cookies?
Coffee?
Coffee. Okay, you guys are from Austin. How much of coffee do you guys love? From a scale of 1 to 10.
11.
11.
Yeah.
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 So we're gonna probably try here because Italo now has been throwing me curveballs in the show and bringing some stuff that is not very good.
Oh, no.
So this is the coffee time, guys. Let's go.
How are you, Kat?
Good. Hi.
Tony, good
buddy.
seeing you.
Good to see you, man.
So this one is actually from a friend of ours
Thank you.
This
in
is
Brazil. It was nice
I'll
enough
pass it
to
down.
send us a couple bags of different coffee in there, and this one has some very interesting notes on it. So we're gonna try it together. So
Have you guys had specialty coffee before? I'm sure. Yeah.
With you the last time we
They
were here.
did.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So you've had coffee with us before. So same deal. Give it a good smell. In a big slurp.
Oh my god.
Notice Tony
man.
just dumps
I
his
love it.
So
back.
this must
It's
be
not
a Brazilian
tequila,
thing.
man.
Like Brazil, it's like the largest country, but with the smallest cups of coffee. Is that?
Well, there's a trick in here. Before we used to shoot the episode in the morning, and people were like, "Oh, I want more coffee." Now we're shooting kind of like in the afternoon-ish, so we don't know how to gauge that, like how much coffee can we serve. But
Yeah.
there's limited amount of coffee right there.
He
So all you gotta
was
do
already
is,
shaking.
I
from
do
the
see a
caffeine.
bigger mug over there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys need more coffee, I can get you.
Okay, Tony, this is not tequila, man. So you guys
Good. I like it.
gotta enjoy. But this is a very floral. Like it's
Great,
almost like
yes.
it has that scent to it.
You know what's funny? It says the notes on it is fruity, citric fruits, Damasco, which Damasco I think is what's the name of the orange fruit that usually they sell it dry, like apricot. Guarana. Have you ever had guarana before? Guarana extract. It's a fruit kind of like a coffee bean, but it gives you energy. It's really good. We have actually a soda named after that. And but yeah, so it's very fruit forward. So you guys are spot on it.
Nice.
Love it.
So
Love it.
funny story though, when we were in Austin, me and Neander were doing the shooting. They're like, let's just find like somebody local to do like just talk to the guy and they'll get his story and all this stuff. We're like, sure, let's do it. So we're walking down the street and I'm Googling places and there's this one place that was called Tumbleweed Coffee. Have you ever heard of it? Don't go there. It's this little
This is
cart.
not a commercial for them.
No, it's a little cart, blacked out, super neat. Like the whole setup of the guy, we're like, oh man, this is gonna be cool. And we get there, there's nobody inside. And me and Neander's like, who's this guy? And he's just this guy just sitting on the side, like, what's up?
He was
like,
painting art.
Yeah, he was he was doing something completely different. We're like, hey man, can we like kind of interview you? Just talk about your business and stuff? Sure. So we sat there, and it's just this most awkward conversation I ever had about coffee, because he's talking about everything but nothing at the same time. And the coffee was awful.
Oh no.
So we're just trying to push through it, and the conversation, like nothing was good about it. And me and Neander was like, yeah, let's just go to like a regular coffee shop now and just not risk it. But he wasn't from Austin, so.
That was probably it.
Didn't represent.
Next time, let us
probably
know
it.
that you're
Yeah,
coming, and we'll tell you.
We'll tell you a
Yeah.
good spot.
Yeah.
Because, I love Austin, like such a great vibe. But, coffee is like this young kind of, I feel like a lot of people like the enthusiasts about like the real coffee like this. It's like, it so look like Austin people, man. And Austin have this nice, cool vibe about everything.
Absolutely.
Right? I love that about Austin.
Absolutely. But I want to hear more about y'all's story. Me and Tony, we had a lot of things in common. Worked at Dell, but he's still there. I'm not. We're cyclists, in a way. He's a cyclist now. I'm probably not.
Well,
as
I
much
kind of hung
anymore.
my wheels up a few years ago.
So they're both probably hanging in the same spot then. But before I go, you guys are not leaving here empty-handed.
Oh.
This one is for you.
Wow,
so
thank
whenever you're
you.
back home,
So nice.
Tony can drink a lot of coffee,
nice.
because I don't give out small cups of coffee.
Okay, next time you guys move, do not toss that mug, okay?
Yeah, just like cookie jar can go. That one stays.
No, we keep it.
Right on. So
Thank you.
let me just finish mine here. But thank y'all. I really appreciate you for coming here, having a cup of coffee with me. Loving to hear the story. I want to hear some more. So, and if you need more coffee, you know how to.
I wouldn't say no.
Oh, I'll bring it right up.
Uh-oh.
All right,
Yep,
let's go.
that's happening.
Welcome to Empire Living Solutions. This is a brand new business that it came out of a solution for a problem that we had. We're being struggling with buying material and goods for our apartment renovations. After 5 properties, over 750 units, we have a lot of turns. So by buying directly and forming our own brand to buy directly overseas and going to manufacturers and testing products, and after all these years, we mastered and crafted these products, and now it's available to you, syndicator, operator, property management, or even if you do flips or developing new construction, anything, we have solutions for you to save on cost of material and have a one-stop shop so you can run your properties to the max performance. All right,
I'm
guys.
awake.
So that was the coffee time, and then we got. I want to know, how'd you guys get into the multifamily real estate? You guys hear about it, or you guys read a book? Just like if you get a quarter for everybody comes in the show, it's like, I read this book, and then we attend a conference. Well, how was it for you guys?
It goes back to the single family.
Yeah, definitely to that. Couple of years ago, we knew that we wanted to move into the multifamily space because we knew that we were hitting burnout. We don't want to be landlords. We have other businesses and full-time jobs and all these houses, and Tony goes to most of them frequently. So I manage them and he takes care of them. But we couldn't figure out we didn't know what the secret sauce was. We would look at them and we would crunch the numbers and we would try to figure out, like, if you're either this big guy that can do these things or you can't do it. And so we couldn't crack the code. We couldn't figure out how to get in until we figured it out.
Well, we were looking at it through the lens of single family purchases. So we were looking at it from that perspective of, okay, so we've got to qualify for a loan. It's going to be whatever, $4 million. And then there's all this stuff. And it's like, how do you do that? Because we didn't have the pockets to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're independently wealthy, but if you're independently wealthy, like maybe you're not going to bother with that,
Right.
because you've already got the money.
Right.
So we were trying to figure out how to get there. And then we found, I don't really know how we figured out or found the multifamily, this sort of syndicating space that you and I met.
Yeah.
All I know is we went to one event and then we spoke to one of Kathleen's clients and they said, go to this other event. And then we went to that event and then we signed up. And then like a month later, we met you guys. So that was from when we finally said, we're going to go to one of these events to when we finally met you guys was maybe a 2-month period.
Really? That's
Yeah.
short.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because, if we have to ask right now, anybody that is like, oh, what did it change the most? And I think everybody will say the same thing. Probably you guys agreed is the mindset or something that we never thought it was possible because
Right.
it's such a large numbers, right? We're talking about multi-million-dollar things and leverage each other's other people's money and raise capital and managing all that stuff is so much,
Right.
and out there we done a couple. It is man, it was amazing.
Well,
mind
it's
shift.
doable.
Yeah.
And when you see that that code can be cracked, it's not a complicated code,
Right.
but it requires work and effort
And courage.
and skills and courage. Right. And so I think, for us, we met you guys and it's there's other elements to the game, right? Because it's a big game, right?
Mhm.
And you need to have a lot of different talents and a lot of different types of people in order to make a complete team, right? And so I think Kat and I first, we kind of talked one day, and I forget, maybe it was on a drive home from Dallas at one of the events, and we were thinking well, what's our superpower? And we said, let's just put together what our superpower is, and then that's what we go talk to people about is our superpower. Because somebody's going to need somebody like us. And then we got introduced to you guys and it's hey, and then it was that you guys were already in the air in your airplane. And so we just kind of jumped on.
Yeah. You guys
We
superpower,
hijacked.
is it? No, man. Look, y'all, and one thing about you guys that we're working on projects together and you guys, I even got goosebumps to talk about, but you guys, it's the ones that show up and they're there for whatever, for better, for worse. It's almost because, when you're forming those relationships and those partnerships, it's like a marriage.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much, right? You need to align in so many different ways. And I think you guys right off the bat, I love how you guys conduct business, how you guys are transparent and everything else. So I love, but now that you guys have a couple of multifamilies under the belt, is this continuous or how do you guys feel?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll keep going.
This is
Yeah,
it.
this
This
is
is your
it.
Yeah,
calling.
we'll keep going.
Yeah.
I think our goal is to do 2 to 3 a year.
I think
Yeah.
that was so important too with us doing our first big multifamily with you is that we trusted you. We knew that we were with a team that's done it. You had a proven track record and that you're very conservative. And we were bringing a lot of our investors to the table
Right.
and I needed to feel really good about it.
Yeah. And now, especially with a lot of uncertainty, right? To investors, we had other people here on the show. We talked to a lot of other folks, experts in industry, people that have done multifamily, multiple cycles. And there's this is right now, it's not bad. It's just we had to educate, buy conservative. Then I think
Right.
we all going to make our investors whole and ourselves because we, a lot of people ask is when you capital raising, it was the first questions that I get asked is how much of your own money you put it in and how much, that stuff. And knowing that I have friends and family money in there, a lot of investors is a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And we take that very seriously.
Yeah.
But for sure.
Well, I remember talking to a airline pilot and I was talking about how kind of wacky flying is and are we going to crash and what's going on up there? What's happening? And his words were, the pilot doesn't want to crash either. Right?
That's so
we
true.
don't, as the GPs, we don't want
Yeah.
to crash either, right? We don't want to lose money. We don't want to crash either. It's not just some willy-nilly thing. It's okay, we just learn how to take off. We don't need to learn how to land, or we don't need to learn how to steer or navigate, right? It's to me, it's the same thing. We don't want to die. Nobody wants to, get hurt. So it's that's kind of the way I think about it. But also, to my earlier point, is you got to have a good team and good, solid people to work with that also has superpowers that you don't have, that we can all be mutually trustful. The second deal that Kat and I are on, which is our first one for this year, is with a group down in Austin. And it's the same thing. We trust these people.
Yeah.
We look at what they've done. We've talked to them. They've talked to us, and we see how they conduct themselves. And there's no sort of you kind of know when you're kind of dealing with an oily kind of a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's never any of that. And so whenever any of that pops up, it's for us, it's no, sir, we're not gonna go down that road with those people. And I know just in our short time, we've met a couple of those, and I'm sure in the time that you've been in, you've probably met a couple of those oily types.
Just one or two.
There's a few, right? I mean,
I'm kidding.
You know, it's the human condition, and I know that, but also there's all types in all categories and all industries and disciplines. So you just have to, figure it out.
No, especially, but like I said earlier, it is a long-term partnership, and you have to really vet and align a few things to have that stuff. But when you had those red flags in the beginning, man, imagine down the road when something's trouble, right? Because when everything goes well, everybody's friend, everybody's cool, but it doesn't go so well where we're going through a turbulence, as you said, about which, by the way, Italo, we got to write that down about the pilot. I love that thing. I'm going to steal it from you. I'm going to say the pilot doesn't want to die. I love that because it's true. Like we don't want to cry. We do whatever we can, losing nights of sleep sometimes just to make sure that we take care of that the property itself. What we have to say for somebody that would be like, hey, I'm making a lot of income of my job and I want to invest. Because I think the first thought that an entry investor into real estate, they think about what is buying a house and getting tenants on.
Right.
And now that about all this, the implications that, if you're buying a house, you have to put tenants and manage whatever. How is that compared to for the multifamily now?
Totally different.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's you get the same benefits, but without the same headache, right?
Right.
And you don't, because the business, the multifamily purchase, the business plan is baked into the mixture for the cake, right?
Yeah.
And so there's the capital expenditures, there's the repairs, there's what I like to call the walking around money that the building needs to have in case a water heater goes here, or you got to do something over there. Those types of things. Like for us, when we own single family homes, like, oh, the air conditioning's broken. We have to fix it. Okay. How much is that? $10,000. That's a lot of money, right? Out of your pocket when you're going to do these things.
That could go your whole year profit
and it did. And it does. Right. And so, but for us, we're thinking, okay, 10, 15, 20 years from now. But I think a lot of people, to Kat's earlier point of, you have to have the disposition to really want to go through that, right? Because it is something that you have to be willing to go through. But with the multifamily, hey, I've got 25 grand. I can put it into a multifamily, or I can go buy a single family home, but I don't know anything. I don't know how to fix things. I don't know how to deal with people. I work in high tech. Like, we have people that I work with at Dell that have bought investment properties. Like, I'm busy. I have a job, right? I don't want to do this stuff. Like
simply just like, I don't want to do those things. I know.
And I think Kat had met someone, and we were talking about this, and it's like this. I don't want to do that because this is my freedom.
Yeah,
I want to put money into this thing as an LP, and not have. And you guys go do that work. You go deal with the people. You go mow the lawn, clean the driveway. You go do that kind of stuff, right? Because I want to be free.
The guy he's talking about is like my new hero.
Yeah,
he's a client of mine, and he's big into this space. And I had asked him about, being a GP, and he's like, I thought he had probably GP'd on 100 things. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I want my freedom. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is my hero.
That's awesome.
Because he totally got it.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you buy into a single family home, and I'll be honest with you, like out of all of my investors, easily most of them are very good landlords.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not that easy though.
Sure.
It does take time, and you have to pay attention. You have to make good decisions, or you really have to trust me. And then I have to hope I'm making good decisions for you. But there's that 10% rule where you get people that just don't get it.
Right.
And it's such almost like a mental burden for them to really comprehend relinquishing even the fear that someone's going to move into this property that you just broke yourself for. And we've gone broke a couple of times, really like putting ourselves out there, trying to stretch into things. And so you have to let go and hope that you're making all the right decisions and not listen to, the people at work telling you about their uncle whose house got trashed.
Yeah.
It's very stressful.
Guys, this is the time now that the team put together some questions for you guys. And we're going to find out a little bit more in detail about. But first, I want to ask about the jiu-jitsu, man. Tell me, how did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Me? So jiu-jitsu, I got into it through, like most people, listening to the Jocko podcast, right? You know Jocko Willink?
I heard of him.
Okay,
yes,
so
but I
listen
never
to his
listened
podcast. He was interviewed on Tim Ferriss, and then he was on Joe Rogan. Of course, Joe Rogan's big into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. He's a black belt.
Jocko is big jiu-jitsu guy. I went to one of his musters. He has like this leadership training. They did it in Austin. I went there. July 17th was my first ever jiu-jitsu lesson of 2017, and I've been doing it ever since. And now I train like 10, 12 hours a week on the mats every week. I went from an endurance athlete now into combat sports. I love it. It's great. It's doing hard things is the best thing that you can do physically, right? Yeah. The goal is life, right? Because it's a process.
Yeah.
There's no end game, right? You don't just like win something, because winning is great, but you have to enjoy the things that you do in order to get to that end result, which it never ends. It's this dangling carrot. It's a constant dangling carrot, right? You have little kids, our kids are big, right? And so the constant dangling carrot is like, you're creating things, you're creating a legacy for your family, for your kids, for your daughters. Yeah. They're going to see you and Delia do the things that you guys do. And then they're going to become adults. And then, it's going to continue, right? And it should never stop, ever stop. Because as soon as you stop, that's when you're dead, right? That's like when I go out, it's like, I'm going to be completely expired when I'm done, like not unable to do anything else.
That's awesome, man. And do you, how old is your daughters?
It's a trick question.
How
old is the daughters?
All of them? One will be 20 soon, 23, 27. Anna's 27?
Not yet.
26 and 33.
Yeah.
Have any of the daughters have any interest on the real estate?
The 26-year-old works with me full time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
She's very good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I learned about real estate through my grandmother. And she didn't say go buy real estate. I just knew she owned a lot of real estate.
Oh.
And that's how she lived. Because she took my grandfather would give her spending money, and she would go and buy single family homes. And she had one commercial property throughout Charleston, South Carolina. And when he died in the early 60s, she just had her Social Security check and her real estate money.
Income.
It wasn't a lot of money, but that's how she lived. That's how she made her money. And she just kind of did her thing. And she was her own, she was her landlord. She dealt with people her own way, but she was always hustling in that regard. And I knew there was something there, but I never knew, nobody else in my family did anything like this. Right. Nobody does real estate. And so the idea of thinking like you can go and do this and make a living at it, it's bizarre, right? To me, it was super bizarre, because she came here not so you could buy real estate. She came into this country so you could go to college and become smarter than the rest of us.
Yeah.
But it's actually crisscross applesauce. It's wrong, right? It's like, no, she was actually smarter than all of us with no education. So,
100%. Yeah.
I went to school for 8 years. I have 2 degrees, and it's like, it's okay, big deal.
Right.
I knew one of the properties, the commercial property, after she passed, they sold this commercial property, and this was in the late 90s. And I think it sold for over $1 million. It was this commercial property that was like a nightclub. It was like a really bad nightclub. Like, I didn't know she owned the building, but I'd heard about this nightclub you
just your grandma saying she was in the clubs.
but I'd heard about this nightclub, but not through the family, just like on bad TV, radio commercials. It was a really tacky club. And like she owned that, oh yeah, they sold this building, and it was hers. And of course, split up between all the family, all the grandkids and great grandkids and everything. It was it wasn't like it was a huge windfall to the family, but it spread out. Yeah. Right. But it was like cash. Like she owned it outright for like 30 years. She owned this thing.
I know that.
It's just taking money. And of course, commercial buildings, like those kind of buildings, like you don't even have to do what we have to do. All you have to do is make sure it doesn't leak water. The tenant takes care of everything else.
Yeah. And she had no debt on it?
Nothing. She had no debt.
Wow.
Legacy.
Yeah. Legacy, right? Yeah. It's incredible. Thanks for sharing. But let's do the spilling the beans, guys. I'm excited about that. All right. So this is a yes or no question, okay? Is it Austin a small LA? Yes or no?
No.
I think it is.
Okay. Tony, this is for you. Full day of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu during a hot summer, or a race at Dragon Boat Race with a hole in your boat?
Jiu-jitsu.
On a hot summer?
Yes.
All right. I can't read this, Italo. A new tattoo or a trip to Hawaii?
Probably the trip.
Probably
Do
the
I
trip.
go? Do I get to go with her?
That wasn't part of
No,
the question.
Yeah.
Am I going with her on that trip? I just want to know where I stand.
Italo, what was the intention of this?
One or the other. They got to pick. Either a new tattoo, they get a new tattoo for free, or a trip to Hawaii.
I'm getting a new tattoo, man. I want to actually.
Well, my sister lives in Hawaii, so I would want to go see her.
Ah, got it. Carpet or hardwood floor?
Hardwood floors.
Bar soaps or shower gel?
Gel.
Like a bar soap. I like a good bar soap.
He does.
Yeah, you're a real man. All right, so Austin or Dallas?
Austin.
Austin.
I know you guys like Dallas. All right, and last but not least, this is not on the script, but I'm gonna ask you, Tony, something about jiu-jitsu here. Hold on, a loop choke or arm bar?
Arm bar.
We're gonna need a demonstration.
Hey, we're gonna roll here after the show.
I'll take it slow.
And this completes the beans with Kat and Tony. Let's go. But guys, I appreciate you guys coming all the way down from Austin here to, share your stories. Appreciate you guys being here. I love this beautiful gift. Austin, go, look at this beautiful plant right there. Look at that. Thank you guys for the gift. And we're gonna take turns. Okay, Kat, you look at camera 3 right there. And if you can talk to your younger self, what or piece of advice that you give her today?
I would say, Kat, buy all the houses that you list. Start sooner, buy more. Absolutely.
Very good. Buy all the houses that you list. Be your own customer. That's great. Living, sometimes you see opportunities, right? You come across them.
I was in control of the opportunities.
Yep.
But I would say, don't be mired down in the confusion of not knowing. Go figure it out and go actively seek out the right people and buy more, sooner, quicker, more, and just suffer more. You probably could have suffered even more. That's what I would say.
Guys, if I had to say one word about you two, I would say this: courage. You guys have this look of courage, and every time something that we need to have a conversation about a new project or something, you guys, out of probably all of our partners, you guys had the most courage. Appreciate you both. Thanks for the friendship. Thanks for the partnership.
Yeah.
And I hope we can make more partnerships and buying successful deals. And
Let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
let's go. I know it's about it. I'm getting emotional
do
here.
it.
Thank you so much, guys, for
Yeah,
coming
buddy.
to the show today. Let's go.
And as always, thank you so much for watching the Real Grind Show. Who's your partner out there? Do you have good partners? If not, I suggest you go find good partners, Superpower Partners like we have. This episode is sponsored by ELS, Empire Living Solutions. Go check it out, empirelivingsolutions.com. Amazing products, amazing price. The solution for your needs is right here. Don't be afraid to give us a thumbs up, give us a like. We're everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, your favorite podcast platforms. There's no way you can run away from us. We're everywhere. This is The Real Grind. Let's go, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Waking up to success. Now we getting it started. This is the real grind. Everything you've been wanting, building an empire, no question. Talking about real estate, investing, making the millions, no stopping. While we sip on gourmet coffee. The real grind. This is the real grind. Let's go.